In a world full of conventional Hollywood cliches and recurring lackluster sequels, one critic has seen it all, who can provide you with all the movie news, opinions, and reviews that could very well save humanity as we know it. This is Libby's Movie Hunt. And now, your host, Libby Hunt.
I'm your host, Libby Hunt, along with my co-host, Kevin E.
Hello. Good to see you.
Thanks for, I'm kind of running late. Sorry about that. Lots of traffic.
That's no problem.
Nothing like live radio or TV.
Yeah, kind of a little bit close today, but you know.
This happened to me last time when we were at the other location. I was getting off the highway, and I didn't cut over enough to get on a Mockingbird, and I missed my exit, so I had to loop around. And that cost you like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So here I am.
Well, we may have a slightly shorter episode this week.
Yeah. And let's not do a commercial break.
Yeah, we'll skip the break completely.
Okay, good. So how are you? Okay, so we have a lot to talk about because you went to see Star Wars last night.
I did. It was very exciting.
Exciting.
Did you go see it yet?
I haven't seen it. So I, last night, had bought tickets for Star Wars because I wanted my son to go with me. And then I flipped out and had to go see La La Land with Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. And so I gave my son and my father and my brother and his son the Star Wars tickets.
Oh, I bet they were glad to have them.
Oh, they were pumped. They were and they loved it. So I saw
great.
On Facebook last night. Let's talk about Star Wars first. I saw that you and your cute girlfriend had on Star Wars T-shirts.
We did. We went matching shirts this year.
And she had on Princess Leia buns.
She did.
Did she actually do her hair?
She did.
That is so cute.
We did it last year too. So.
That is so funny.
Last year we didn't have matching shirts. We just had different ones. But this year we went to pick out our shirts and we both liked the same one. And I said, whatever, we'll get the same one. That's fine with me.
Were there people dressed up in the theater, Star Wars stuff? Because sometimes
there were a couple people. I saw one girl completely dressed up as R2-D2, like body painted. It was pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Because, see, we saw it at the Angelica. It was more adults. I figured you were at probably one of those cineplexes where there was tons of people. You might see more.
Oh, yeah. There was tons. But it was nice because I love the reserved seating thing now that you do. Mm-hmm. It makes it so much easier. You don't have to worry about getting there an hour and a half early to get in line to try to get a good seat. We already knew exactly where our seats were, so it wasn't that bad. I thought it would be a huge hassle, but it was.
Where do you sit? Do you have a perfect place you like to sit?
Yeah, I like to sit in the very top row.
Even when you're with someone?
Yes.
Because we talked about when we're by ourselves, we like to be on the top row so we can look down and make sure no creeps are
I like it no matter what. I also like to be on the end in case I want to get up and leave. I don't have to move past a bunch of people.
Yeah, don't you like to be on the side?
Yes.
Yeah, and so I don't mind. I like to be on the right side at an angle. It's weird. If I get on the left side at an angle, it just totally throws me off.
Like if you're facing the screen.
I have to be on the right side.
Yeah, me too. That's where I like to be too.
We're so much alike. It's really weird.
That's exactly where I want to be.
I don't like to be right in the middle.
No.
Then you have to be surrounded by people and they
exactly.
walk
And if you have to go do something, you don't want to get up to get anything because you have to get up and scoot past them. It's a whole thing.
See, we're total movie weirdos.
That is true.
I'm so glad I found you that you like movies so much. Does your girlfriend like movies as much as you do?
She's starting to, but she hasn't seen, the volume of movies. Yeah.
The pure volume. Mm-hmm. Is she a Star Wars fan?
Yes.
Okay.
She hadn't ever seen any Star Wars movies until a couple of months before The Force Awakens came out, and I had her just watch, I didn't do any of the prequels, I had her just watch the original trilogy, episodes 4, 5, and 6 from the 70s and 80s, and she loved them.
That is so cute.
And then we started watching the prequels, and she was like, "These suck." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know they're not as fun, but so she watched the first one and then said, "Yeah, I don't want to watch any more of those." So she didn't like those. She loved The Force Awakens. We both did, and then we both loved Rogue One.
Okay, so Rogue One, my son, I don't know much about it all. I haven't done research. My son was telling me it stands alone, like it's its own deal.
Absolutely.
Okay, so kind of,
but it still fits in.
So tell me about it.
Okay, so Rogue One basically consists of a band of misfit rebels who come together. Of course, there's...
Is it before?
It takes place after Episode 3, and it takes place right before Episode 4, the first Star Wars that ever came out in 1977.
Okay, how are we supposed to know this?
Because
if you're a fan and you follow it,
the original Star Wars, the Death Star has been constructed, and it's kind of Vader and is the big villain on the Death Star, and this movie is all about the completion of the Death Star, so it's right before A New Hope happens.
So is Darth Vader in this one?
Darth Vader is definitely in it. I know that may be a little bit of a spoiler, but they showed him in the trailer.
Right,
so,
I heard that. So.
Yes. But no, you definitely get to see, I mean, maybe not as much as diehard fans would like, but you definitely get to see some Vader. It's very satisfying.
And I heard that Princess Leia somehow is piped in at some point.
This is another thing. I hope I'm not.
I don't think it's a spoiler. It's been written about.
Hold on 1 second. Let me just punch this. Okay, this is one of the main villains in A New Hope was Grand Moff Tarkin, played by Peter Cushing, who died back in 1994.
Okay.
So they
yes.
show him from the back, and he's speaking, and I'm like, they won't actually show his face, so they'll
Right.
get a different actor. But no, he turns around, and he's in like a good portion of the movie, completely CG.
Like they did with that Jeff Bridges and Blade Runner. One
Yes,
of those.
like
was
that.
So cool.
It looks much better, I think, than that. You can tell it's CG only really when they're talking a lot, but overall, it looks pretty real. And I was telling Elise, like, what'd you think of the CG for Grand Moff Tarkin? She was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, you didn't notice that guy was CG? And she's like, no. So we put on the original New Hope when we got home, and she's like, it looks exactly the same to me as it did in the movie. And then, they did the same thing with Princess Leia.
Princess Leia.
But only for only a brief second.
And Felicity, is it Jones, is the star?
I think so.
She was in a movie last year that won an Academy Award, Imitation Game or one of those.
It starts when she's a
Imitation
child, and the main Imperial general or villain basically comes to her planet to take her father, who is an Imperial scientist, but kind of defected and just wanted to live, the farm life. But he knew the secret to building the super weapon, the Death Star, so they take him, and she hid for years, and then grew up raised by this other guy who's Forrest Whitaker, and became, involved in the rebellion and that kind of thing.
And is R2-D2 or
There's a brief cameo with R2 and 3PO, but
3PO? Chewbacca?
No Chewie.
No
And there's a
Chewie.
new droid character that's in it that's a converted Imperial droid that now works for the Rebels, and he's a good character. I will say, though, this is hands down the least kid-friendly Star Wars that's ever been made.
Interesting. Why is that? Were there not like those Chewbacca characters? I mean, not Chewbacca. Jabba the Hutt type.
There aren't any goofy characters.
Goofy. That's what I mean.
A major lack of goofy characters and a lot of killing, a lot of death scenes, a lot of war depicted, and just overall very dark and very tragic compared to other installments.
So there was, what was the one? Force Awakens.
Yes.
So then the next one will be next to Force Awakens.
Yeah,
It'll
next year will be Episode 8, and then that will be followed by the Han Solo movie the following year. So Disney said there'll be a Star Wars every year, so every year I'll be there wearing my Star Wars T-shirt and with Elise and her Princess Leia hair.
But Han Solo, that's Harrison Ford, so how can it be his movie?
Because it'll be another one prequel like Rogue One.
Oh, okay.
These separate
Interesting.
stories that take place in between, because there's a huge gap. I want to say it was 30 years between Return of the Jedi, or between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. So that's where all those little stories are going to fit.
But it's like somebody like me who's really not a huge Star Wars fan and doesn't follow. Will I enjoy it?
Yes.
I mean, I didn't read the Harry Potter books, but I enjoyed the films. I
Yeah.
mean, that same kind of thing. You think I'll go and enjoy it?
I mean, this is something, and I think a lot of critics are agreeing with me on this. From a filmmaking standpoint, this is the best made Star Wars film there's ever been. And it's the most mass appeal. It will appeal to people who don't even like Star
Well, that's
Wars.
what I was saying, because it stands alone. Maybe that's good, because you don't have to have followed it really. Or maybe you do. I don't know.
I mean, I don't think so. The directing is great. The pacing is great. The cinematography is great. The acting is great. All the characters are good. It's just extremely well made. Now, it's definitely the most well made, just a great made film, but I would still say I like Force Awakens better because it's a better made Star Wars film.
Right. This is different.
Yeah, exactly. You have all your Han Solo and your Chewbacca and all that, so I like Force Awakens better. And you have your Kylo Ren, your villain, and that stuff. I love that. But as a film overall, this is a better movie.
Do you know who directed it? Because they're always different directors.
God, I can't think of the guy's name off the top
I
of my
was
head.
going to look that up too.
Garrett, hold on.
But they're always, I mean, because you and I said sometimes when they get
I
different
want to say
directors.
like Gareth Edwards or something like that. But yeah, it's a director who I wasn't familiar with before this.
Well, my family who went to see it last night.
Gareth Edwards, yeah.
They loved it. They loved it. So what do you give it? Popcorn worthy?
Popcorn worthy all the way.
I mean, any Oscar nominations?
It's possible it could receive some Oscar nominations along the line of costuming and visual effects, makeups, maybe something like that. But no, I mean, acting and screenplay, nothing like that.
Well, I'll definitely go see it. I mean, my dad was so excited. He loves those Star Wars movies.
It's worth seeing them. If you're not a big Star Wars fan, I think it's even better for those kind of people.
But since me and science fiction, I get a little confused. Am I going to be confused?
To be honest, this is maybe my one flaw with the movies. Sometimes the plotting is a little confusing.
Okay.
Because you have this one band of rebels that isn't with this other band of rebels, but they're all against the Empire, but they're not one alliance. It gets a little bit confusing, a little convoluted, but it all comes together very well.
Do you like that there's a woman heroine in it? Do you like that?
Yeah, I do.
Of course I do. You know, I always like it when they have a woman, you know.
You have Jyn, she's pretty much the main protagonist of the film, but then you also have Cassian, who's a character from the Alliance, who's a male, and they work very well in tandem, similar to the Rey-Finn relationship in The Force Awakens.
And the Felicity, I was wrong. It wasn't Imitation Game. She was in that movie with about Stephen Hawking. Last year that got a bunch of nomination.
And I didn't see that, but I can remember the name.
She's
the
a
name.
great actress. So that's well, I'm glad you liked it. That's fun. I thought it would just be. It was pretty packed last night, so it's kind of fun.
I was very excited when I saw, when the embargo was lifted for reviews and it had 86% certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm just like,
did?
good.
Oh,
yeah, because if it pulled it up and it said 44%, of course I still would have gone to see it, but I would have been bummed out. But I'm glad it's critically
None of them
acclaimed.
have gotten bad on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm sure any of the Star Wars movies.
Even the prequels, which a lot of people hate, are still fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
They're going to be fresh. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I mean they're in the 60% range.
Is that the same?
Yeah, they're fresh or rotten. Anything above 60 is fresh.
Oh, I'm learning things from this young man. Okay, I never really followed Rotten Tomatoes. This is so interesting to me because I'm so close. Well, look up La La Land and see what
La La
it is
Land,
on
yeah,
there.
I haven't looked because I looked up Lion because I saw that as well.
I'm going to talk about La La Land next week.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
But tell me about Lion.
I believe Lion is like a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
And I will agree with that score. Or actually, it's an 83. I would have thought it would be stronger.
Did you see Lion?
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Oh, good. So we can both talk about it. Oh, I'm so proud of you for going to see it.
Well, thank you.
Fit in another movie.
Yeah, I think this is the first week where I saw more movies than you.
I know. Well, actually.
Oh, no, you've seen more.
This morning, my daughter's home from college, and I woke her up at 9:30, and I said, throw your clothes on. We're going to see Jackie. And she's like, what? I'm going to a movie at 10:15 in the morning? So
did you guys like it? Well, we'll talk about that one
We'll
later.
save that for next week's
Yeah,
show.
save
But
it.
I was afraid I was going to be so busy next week. But she was like, "Okay, Mom, I'll do whatever you say. I'm behind in movies. I haven't seen many." So you want to tell us anything else about Star Wars?
No, I
just
mean
go.
Star Wars. Definitely go see it. But I have to say it is the least kid friendly. It's hands down the most violent, most dark, most tragic, but still has an overall satisfying where you feel good at the end type feeling. But
What do they rate it? PG-13?
it's PG-13.
Are other ones PG? Probably.
There's only 3 Star Wars films, I'm such a nerd, I know this, that have been PG-13. Revenge of the Sith, The Force Awakens, and Rogue One are the 3 that are PG-13.
You're hilarious. I mean,
Every
you
other
love
one
these.
was PG.
Do you love Star Trek movies as much as you love Star Wars movies? Just a different kind of
A different
love or
kind,
like,
yeah. Because I consider Star Wars fantasy, and I consider Star Trek science fiction.
You know what I saw? I go see the old movies, the Angelica, each week at Art House Theater here in Dallas, and I saw Logan's Run. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
With Michael York?
I love that movie.
Well, at the end, my son and I were saying it's kind of brings back a Twilight Zone, Star Trek kind of feel. And it took place here in Dallas, right here at the Paramount.
Oh,
They
I didn't know
filmed
that.
most of it. The Paramount, that was built around then. And so all that inside the world.
In the dome.
The dome is... It was fun to see. It's a long movie, though. It's 2 hours. It's
And that's where everyone lives to... You
live to 30.
You get a hedonistic life, you can do whatever you want, but you only live till 30.
But at 20... In the book, they changed it because it was 24 or 25. But Farrah Fawcett has a role in it, and she was a pretty good actress, but this was one of her first roles after Charlie's Angels. It wasn't too good. Michael York. It was really fun to see it. You would like it, being a science
I love
fiction
those
guy.
dystopic type films. It's similar, just conceptually to THX 1138, except 1138 is not a hedonistic, happy culture, but it's the same where it's all contained into one dome, and eventually the character escapes.
That's a movie?
Yeah, it's originally it was a college film by George Lucas. And it won some awards, and then he actually got the funding to make it a real movie later. So there's THX 113, and I believe Robert Duvall is the main character.
So it's called TH11.
THX 1138.
What a terrible name.
Oh, I know.
I'm all about a good name for a movie,
And
too.
because another nerdy little tidbit, in the very first Star Trek A New Hope, Princess Leia is held in cell block 1138, just as a throwback to THX.
Oh,
so.
really? Oh, my God.
I'm wasting time
Why
talking.
do you know that? Why do you know that?
I'm taking up all the time to talk about Lion. I'm sorry.
No, you're like the perfect... Okay, Lion, it is a true story starring Nicole Kidman and Dev Patel, that Indian actor that was... you saw it. That was in Slumdog Millionaire.
Yes, he was also in the TV show Skins, British
Yes.
TV show, if anybody watched that.
He's so gifted. But it is a true story, and it was actually on 60 Minutes the other night, featuring the real kid who was lost in India when he was 5. His brother lost him on the train tracks, and he literally travels thousands of miles on a train and is, sent to an orphanage or whatever, and Nicole Kidman and her husband from Australia adopt him. And then when he's 25, he starts having more memories and realized he always knew he was lost, but more and more things come back to him, and he tracks and figures out where his home was in India, which is just fascinating, by Google Earth. He watched the train tracks from Google Earth because he remembered a water tower, wasn't that it? And something else, a bridge.
Yeah, I think so.
And he
Some other landmark.
Found the town he was from, and his whole life he had told them he had mispronounced his own name in his own city. That's why they could never find his city where he was from. I thought that was interesting. But so he found his home, and he's been back there like 16 or 19 times, but he considers Australia his home. So
I thought it was a very epic journey that seems like almost like it would be an old fashioned, like it could be an ancient tale almost, the way it plays out, but it's modern, which I like. I like that twist on it. The first thing though that shocked me the most is how much older Dev Patel looked the first time I saw. I mean, I haven't seen him in a movie in a while.
He's a man.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my God.
You're almost like Nicole Kidman being his mother didn't seem...
It almost didn't seem right.
It's
too big of an age gap. But
and he was so handsome in it, I thought, with the beard and
yes,
the hair.
Definitely.
I mean, I've always thought he was a cute guy, but I mean, he kind of looked like Jesus in it.
A little bit.
Did you keep thinking that?
It's a completely different look than you've ever seen him before. I mean, he's aged, his face is filled in, and he has facial hair, long hair, and just...
Well, and he has a British accent, but he has an Australian accent in it. But I saw Nicole Kidman interviewed by my friend Jitin Higarini from India himself, and he was asking her about the film, and she said that she loved doing it because she loves supporting Australian filmmakers because it was an Australian director, and she loved it because she's adopted children, so she believes in, obviously adoption. And she said in her interview too that she loved it because she's obviously colorblind by adopting, a child with dark skin.
Right.
So it's a really fascinating story. There's a part in it where Nicole Kidman's character, the mother of the little boy, says she, at age 10 years old, she felt like she was struck by lightning. She had this dream or not a dream, really something came to her that she should adopt a child of a dark skin. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize until you told me actually that this whole thing was based on a true story.
True story, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of and 60 Minutes kept saying we followed all this up to make sure it's true because it's so fascinating. Who could make this up? And it is true.
So they do. I mean, keep it very true to the actual true events.
Yes. I asked someone why is it called Lion, and they said wait till literally the last 2 minutes of the movie and you'll find out why it's called Lion. Because I was kept kind of, why are they calling it Lion?
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Didn't you think that little boy who played the 5-year-old was just? I think he maybe should get a nomination.
Yeah, very very good.
He was 5.
Yeah.
All right, he was older when he played that role, but you could not take your eyes off this kid. I thought he was one of the best parts of the movie.
Definitely, I agree.
I thought the girl who played Dev Patel's girlfriend was good. I would have liked to have seen her more.
Yeah, she didn't really have too much of a role.
Rooney. She was in Carol last year with not Kate Winslet.
Hold on, the name is she the one from? Why am I just trying to movie her? She's in The Social Network. But there's something else I'm thinking of. I can't. I'll look it up later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would give it. I would say it's an Oscar worthy.
I'd give it to Oscar to popcorn worthy. I think that Nicole Kidman could get nominated for an Oscar. The part when he's talking to her about, Mom, I love you. I'm going to find my family, but you're still my family, and she's crying and he's crying. I mean, that was Oscar level performance. I thought. Do you think his performance was Oscar level? I mean, possibly.
It was very good.
It was good.
I don't know that he'll get a nomination. I mean, there's some really big contenders this year, and I don't know if he'll make the cut. But he was still very convincing and did a fine job. But I don't know if it's Oscar worthy.
I think the film itself, it's an independent film. It is nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Picture. What's interesting about the Golden Globes? They came out this week, and I wrote down the list of who was nominated, and it's interesting because a lot of the films haven't come out yet, so the Golden Globes has to announce who they pick before all the good films have come out. Because they're starting to roll out now.
Yeah, and then that kind of creates a bias before you go see it.
I know.
If they do.
But it's I'll tell you, 5 of them I wrote down. Maybe it's only 5. Lion, Hell or High Water, yay!
Yes.
My movie with Jeff Bridges. Moonlight, which I haven't seen. It's about kind of inner city.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what that is.
And I heard it wasn't that great. I don't know. About maybe drug war. I'm not sure. Hacksaw Ridge, yay!
Yes.
Manchester by the Sea with Casey Affleck, which is so depressing.
Which I did not see.
I don't know. I mean, it is getting all this Oscar buzz and just praise, and
It is, and it's in wide release now. So we lost
Hello?
part of our display. I swear that never happens.
Hello there. Look, there's our little chop. I liked it, but it's a beautiful story, kind of haunting, but it's just so sad. So I guess we're wrapping it up. But also, that is it on the Golden Globe. Golden Globes I don't like as much as the Oscars. Do you? It includes TV. It's just not.
I don't mean to sound rude. I just don't care about them as much.
I don't either. We care about the Oscars. They're the real deal. Okay, thanks for tuning in to Libby's Movie Hunt on WatchOnAirLive.com. We're here every Friday at 2. Now go enjoy the movies.